Hi Sugar Snaps. Today I want to share how to make a drop spindle using recycled materials. So I did a couple other drop spindle videos to show you how to make your own, and I'll have those listed up here as we go throughout this video. So be sure to check those out and check out the hub video on how to spin with all the different videos and the comparison between the different drop spindles. So today I want to show you how to do a drop spindle out of a recycled container cap, an old pencil, paper clips, or a cup hook. This is a little hook with a screw end, and these are just two different sizes of paper clips, so you can use either option. You'll also want to have some rubber bands to hold the cap onto your pencil. For tools, I have either a drill with a bit about the size of your pencil to drill into your cap to make a hole for the pencil, or a knife if you want to cut a hole if you don't have a drill. I also have a pair of pliers for bending the paper clips and wire cutters. These aren't really necessary, but it does help if you're working with the paper clip to be able to handle the wire without trying to do it with your fingers. Okay, so to start out, we need to put a hole right in the middle of the cap that we're using. Mine luckily has a little dot right in the middle, so I'm going to use that as my guide. If yours does not have a indicator of the exact middle, go ahead and measure across and then split that distance in half and create a mark with your pencil to show where you're going to create your hole. If you're using a drill, I would suggest setting your cap on a piece of wood that you can drill into and having that set up on your workspace or going outside to do this. So I have my piece of wood here. I'm going to place this on that so that I don't end up drilling into my table. You can see my drill bit still could drill into the table, so I just want to not go too far, which should be obvious because it gets harder. So I'm going to hold my cap in place and place the drill right on top and begin to drill. Make sure your drill is going in the right direction. There we go. Okay, and there's my hole, and the bit slipped and traveled. So just be aware that where you place the bit when you start is not where you will always get the hole. Maybe set it off slightly from the center. My largest bit is a little bit smaller than my pencil, so my pencil isn't going to go through. So I'm going to go in again with the bit and just eat away at the side a little bit to make it a little bit bigger. Okay, and then try again, putting the pencil side, the writing side down. And you can use a pencil that's already been used or a fresh pencil that hasn't been sharpened yet. Okay, and feed that through. Okay. Like so, until the cap is about 1.5 inches from the end of your pencil. This will be a top whorl drop spindle, which means that the whorl, which is this head of the drop spindle, is at the top. You can also make drop spindles that are shaped like this, that have the whorl at the bottom, and the setup function of the drop spindle is just a little bit different between the two. I like the setup of the top whorl because it's quicker and easier to get set up, and I feel like it's easier to figure out as a beginner. So I like to start out with this shape when creating a drop spindle. For the hook at the top, you want to have a hook at the top so that when you're spinning the yarn, it has a place to wrap around. I'll show you how to use the paper clip and then also the cup hook. So for the paper clip, you're gonna open up one of the ends, and you want the hook of the small end, because proportionately the hook of the small end fits better on the end of this pencil. I'm just going to extend it out a bit so that the curve is a little bit bigger by using my pliers to create more of a curve shape here. So I'm opening up that curve so I have a bit more curve here. And then I'm going to cut off some of this nose so that it's about half as long. So I've got a nice hook right here. And now I can shove it into the end of the pencil, into the eraser. So I'm gonna measure that out. I want just a little bit extra below where the hook ends. So where the nose of the hook ends, I want about 1/4 inch from the base of that hook into the eraser. And then I need enough to go into the eraser. So measure down the depth of the eraser and then a little bit more into the green part there. And cut it with your wire cutters. And then take this and center it into the eraser and press it into the eraser all the way in. And you can adjust the hook after you've done if it gets bent out of shape. And you can press them in with your pliers if your hands aren't strong enough to get it in there. And there will be a point where you hit the top of the pencil below here and the paper clip will stop moving, and that's where you're going to start or stop. So there I have a little hook on the end of my drop spindle. Now as you're spinning, this will come out, so don't pull on it too hard. The hole will become loose if you are pulling it in and out often. So just be gentle with the end of this hook. And this hook here is rather sharp because we trimmed it down. So be aware of that when you're wrapping your yarn around the end here, that it will probably catch here. The other option for the hook end is to screw in, I'll pull that out, screw in a cup hook, which is a little hook with some a screw end. And that you would do the same thing. You'd screw it into the end of the eraser until you meet the top of that screw point, and it will sit right into the eraser like so. My pencil is pretty tightly into that hole because I made it so that the hole was a little bit smaller than the pencil, and so it fits nice and snugly. If your largest bit or the bit that you used made the hole just the right size or a little too big, and your lid is sliding up and down, you'll want to create a little gasket type situation with some rubber bands. And so what a gasket does is it holds the piece in place so that it seals it off, or seals it in place in this case, so that it doesn't move around. So you would use a 1.5 inch-ish diameter rubber band, words are hard, wrap it around the end of your pencil until it's nice and snug, and then press it onto the top of your cap so that it's nice and snug up on top there. And then do the same thing on this side, on the inside, with another similar sized rubber band. And the balance of a drop spindle is fairly important because it'll affect the way that it spins when you are creating yarn. And so having it even on both sides all the way around will impact the way that your drop spindle performs. So I have the gasket here, or the rubber band here, holding it in place like a gasket, and then here as well. And that holds the cap firmly in place so that it doesn't wiggle around. So that is a recycled object drop spindle. These are super simple to make at home because most of these objects you can find in your recycle or your office supplies. It's easy to practice on. It's not the most functional drop spindle you can make. Check out some of the other drop spindles that I shared earlier throughout this video, and I'll put the links in the description below. And also the hub video where I show the differences of how each drop spindle functions. A bit of a comparison of the different types of drop spindles that you can make at home compared to one that you can buy at a spinning store. And that will give you an idea of where to start in your drop spinning adventures. I hope you had fun. Be sure to check out those other videos, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.